Ever heard of a killer? I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
Somebody said, look at LeakYou video. What the fuck is LeakYou? Is it like a site? What's LeakYou? LeakYou. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh, shit. Oh, all right, bet. Here we go.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
One, two, three, four.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Hello, hello. Give me just one moment, please. All right, now we should be good. Hello, everyone. I am coming through to do a very quick live stream to, talk about something that some people, let me just put it like this. CERN, NASA, and Solar Eclipse has been trending for 2 days now. For 2 days, since yesterday. I don't know why all of a sudden, LaWanda and Emmanuel, why all of a sudden it's a big deal now in the last couple of days when we've been preparing for this. But anyway, to top it all off, we got a little third wheel here, a little headline, which is very interesting, called Project Serpent Deity. In that NASA is going to be firing 3 rockets during the solar eclipse, okay? Also, on this day, April 8th, when the solar eclipse happens, and if you're in Northeast Texas, you'll be privileged to the whole thing. But there's people flooding towns and cities in Texas, Missouri. People have been talking about the strange coincidences with the solar eclipse and cities that it's going to go through. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy. But anyway, a lot's going on. So we got NASA firing 3 rockets to test atmospheric weather conditions. And then we've got the CERN Hadron Collider that is going to be kicking into its springtime operations on the same day, which has a lot of people talking, right? A lot of people talking and news articles being written. And the Daily Mail decided they would dip their toes in. You don't have to say. The Daily Mail have an interesting science collection of articles or, stuff that's kind of out there, right? More of the fluff. so to speak. But they definitely throw you a lot of articles. They probably have millions on their website, on the Daily Mail's website. But anyway, this issue has made the Daily Mail, where people are just a bit concerned that CERN is going to be kicked into springtime operations on April 8th, the same day as the April total solar eclipse. And check this. They are going to be looking for, quote, invisible matter that secretly powers our universe. They're going to be smashing atoms together for the first time since 2022. And they hope to discover subatomic particles that exist within atoms. We just heard, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, like the third or fourth scientist do a podcast and talk about some of these experiments that are going on at CERN, where they're smashing these atoms together of elements, right? Which is something that I've heard some talk about when it comes to the UFO craft and how they're engineered. But anyway, some of these experiments, it has been rumored that some of these scientists have expressed that there's some sort of interdimensional beings being contacted during some of these intense experiments, the biggest collider in the world. And did you know that they are building, I heard they're building something very similar to CERN right here in America. Someone's going to copy the concept and build a little mini CERN here in the great old US of A. How you like that? It's uncomfortable because it feels like people are playing with science, playing with things that they don't know anything about. And we just stand by and watch it all go down. "17 different particle groups have been confirmed. The existence of these particles have been confirmed using this CERN, Large Hadron Collider." Imagine where they're at today when they announce that news, right? But dark matter, studying dark matter, antimatter, right? The positive and the negative, the yin and the yang, so to speak, right? They are definitely studying those concepts. I'm quite sure there's some very top secret experiments that go down over at CERN too that we don't know anything about at all. Some have seen or recorded even. There's some video out there. Just go check it out. But like portals opening right above that collider. But here's the thing. The CERN has been shut down for, a couple of years, essentially. It's been in hibernation, right? And they've spent a lot of money on this device for many years. We've been hearing about the God particle and the CERN Collider, right? So they're going to bring it back up. We're not to associate any kind of strangeness or anything with the fact that they're going to be shining it on, bringing it up and testing it on the same day that the solar eclipse is happening. This also understand that there is a history there. When CERN opened up, there's some videos that have floated, and they like disappear and then they come back out, and then they disappear, then they come back out. It's so weird. Of very strange dances and like rituals and things that happened during the opening of this huge chunk of science, this huge block of science, right? It has superconducting magnets, the ability to boost that magnetism, right? There's so many different experiments that they do there. 17-mile long tunnel. That's how much length they have to play with, right? Nearly the speed of light. I remember the God particle. The God particle was the big thing, like 15 plus years ago. That's how I came to know about CERN. And their attempt to recreate the Big Bang, right? And their experiments have went in a way different direction. Who would have thought we would have been hearing things like scientists during their experiments are having experiences with some sort of interdimensional beings, having communication with these beings. Some have referred to them as demons. So when scientists light it up, they'll inject several proton beams. They're heavier particles, and that weight will allow the much lower energy loss per turn through that accelerator and into other particles like photon. So it speeds that up, baby. And how interesting, we have Project Serpent Deity. Isn't that the most oddest name? Who comes up with this stuff? So NASA has announced it's going to be firing 3 scientific sounding rockets into the moon's shadow on Monday, April 8th, during a solar eclipse that's going to happen across North America. It'll be a total solar eclipse for a 115-mile wide path through parts of Mexico, 15 U.S. states, and Canada, and a partial solar eclipse for the entire Americas. And it will be a sudden drop in sunlight in the day. It'll be interesting. They always say it'll be the only one you'll ever see in your life. And then this happens. But anyway, so NASA has announced, right? They're going to be launching these rockets into the moon's shadow during this eclipse, right? So that they can do some atmospheric weather testing and to obtain some data points. They're going to be strictly scientific payloads. And they're just shooting rockets all over the place, and it's so dangerous. Oh, and check this out. The rockets will be launching before, during, and after the peak of the eclipse. Again, they say it's going to be a scientific payload only. and that each rocket will eject 4 secondary instruments the size of a 2-liter soda bottle that will measure some data points. They've got this all figured out, right? And this is coming directly, by the way, from the Space and Atmospheric Instrumentation Lab. So, but that's just interesting. So we're going to have rockets with scientific payloads being shot up, during, they want to hit it during the peak of the eclipse, right? So that's pretty interesting. So don't freak out, I guess, if you see 3 rockets in the air. So why on that day? Maybe they're going to be testing some of the atmospheric data points during an eclipse. I don't know. So we're going to have that going on, and we're going to have that, and then we're going to have CERN, where it's just things are a little crazy right about now in science. It's a manual beyond ominous and terrifying. And they're still looking for God particle, LaWanda, and they will always be looking for that God particle. There's so much that we just in science don't understand. We could be looking for that essence, so to speak, for a lifetime. But don't you all find it interesting that NASA's suddenly announcing this? And why? Why would you call it Project Serpent Deity? Is that not weird, not awkward? It's just a strange name, is all I'm saying. Yes, it is. And so, don't freak out, you all, if you do see these 3 rockets. It's going to be a lot going on April 8th. I mean, a lot going on. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy that collider puts out, and there's a lot of just energy changes and shifts that happen around eclipses, just period. Even like human behavior is so weird. It's hard to explain, but that's the thing, LaWanda, right? There's never going to be the same place twice type of thing, unless you're probably, in the Arctic, where they commonly go without sun for, many hours and all that sort of thing, days, sometimes weeks, depending on where you are on the globe. But and when they released their statement, they just said some data points. They did not specify what those data points are. But they want to ease speculation over, to any of us. They want to ease that. If we see 3 rockets chasing the solar eclipse right here in good old US of A. And people take these eclipses so serious. Like, when I tell you so serious, people are going to be taking off work that week. People are traveling. They want to see it in person. All right. They want to see this solar eclipse with their own eyes. They're going to be bringing their glasses with them. And if you follow a crowd like that, I could see why vendors would feel, why people get scalped at events or I guess you could call it an event, because the things that I can even just tell you, just being in the zone of this one at 100%, I'll be able to see the entire eclipse totally from my location, almost center actually. But you get about 115 miles out each way, I believe, each way, or no, it's a total width of 115 miles, where then it becomes just a partial eclipse, right? So I guess not as fascinating, but fascinating nonetheless. I mean, it brings apocalyptic vibes is, I guess, the best way for me to say it. Right. I think Mad Max meets Thunderdome. I think apocalyptic. Yeah, I'm thinking end of the world, the underground, that sort of a thing. Because people, even comets, we've had comets. The Haley-Bopp comet, remember that? When the Haley-Bopp comet came, it was around like 2.5, I want to say 2 or 3 months. We could see it in the sky back then. If you were in a big city, you may not have seen it. But during that time, I wasn't living in a big city, right? I was in a place where I could see all the way. I could see the stars in the sky. So I'm just saying, remember the guys, all those people that committed suicide, that cult, because of that comet? Weird stuff like that. Oh, it's the solar eclipse. Let's build a monument that will somehow get the view of night and day in here. It's crazy. Twice a year, specific times of the year. I'm talking about some of those Mayan pyramids, right? The way that they're built is very unique. But anyway, I'm kind of blabbing on. I just thought that was interesting, and I think other people do too. And as I was saying earlier, for 2 days, I've watched on Twitter, I've watched in other social media, CERN, NASA, and now Project Serpent Deity trend, and solar eclipse, of course, right? So just peep game. Very interesting. All right, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you who came through. Shout out to those of you on each platform that I'm streaming on, including X, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. Before I get up out of here, allow me to pay a few bills if you don't mind. Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'll keep this short. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through here in my live stream. Feel free to share me out. Still trying to grow my presence. And again, these are the types of stories that I typically do. So don't call me too weird. You can definitely check me out, my official podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, and Google Podcasts. If you need a link in, you can hit my anchor page, anchor.fm /LeakYou, where you can essentially link up to, if you have, a certain paid type of thing with Spotify, you can subscribe to me over there, that sort of a thing. So just keep that in mind. But there's also some web broadcasts of my official podcast. So feel free to check those out. All right, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through. Until next time.
Got to pop the pill.
The judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart, like really, really, really smart like I am.